Hi everyone, this is Bobby from bn-games.com, and we're here doing another classic capture. Today we're playing pretty much my favorite Dreamcast game, and a lot of people's favorite Dreamcast game.
Yeah, I would actually agree that, I mean, because Sonic Adventure still kind of holds that spot, just because that was like one of the first games I ever saw and played on it. But this is definitely like right next to it. I mean, pretty much equal ground. I mean, to me, this is kind of what really showed what the Dreamcast could kind of do, especially at the beginning.
Well, you know, it was mid. It was kind of towards midlife, but
yeah. Well, I mean, still, I mean, being at a console that didn't live very long, it was still kind. If you went by an average lifespan of a console, it would still kind of been the early stage. But I mean, this was also like one of the most massive games I ever remember playing, at least for the time.
Well, let's give a little history. First thing I want to mention is this is a love or hate it game. It usually isn't something that's in between. There are fans of the game, and then there are people who are not fans of the game. We are of the fans part, and we're not apologists. I think there's plenty here to be a fan of.
I mean, these games usually are, the style is not very popular here in the States.
Well, that's kind of, we'll get into that. So, this game was released on the Dreamcast. It was marketed as best looking game of all time, which at the time, visually it was. Like you said, it was pushing what consoles could do. I mean,
even now it looks good.
Oh yeah.
I think.
The PC at the time, because everyone was all PC. PC still didn't match a lot of this. This game actually originally was started on the Saturn, and it, from research, was almost completed on the Saturn. I have played a version of it, and since the Dreamcast was in its, pretty much the hardware's being released, they just started, recreating it for the Dreamcast. There's too much to go on. This game has a lot of history. This game has been blamed for Sega's downfall, for the Dreamcast's downfall. Sega put a lot of money behind it, somewhere to the tune of $40 million at the time, which about $70 million in today's money, and was the most expensive game at the time ever developed. Sega put a lot of money into it. The thing about Sega was it wasn't so much this game that caused a lot of issues. It was, it was bad management in Sega. Although they did release this in the States, because for a good part of the time they didn't want to release this here. It's fully voice acted. They did their best to make everything look realistic. It was going for a realistic feel, and later in Shenmue 2 and part of the series, it does take a supernatural nature. But the first game, for the most part, it tries to keep its ties in reality. And the game, as you're seeing here, is basically Ryo. You play as Ryo Hazuki. And please don't kill me if I butchered that. And you witness your father being murdered, which is happening right now.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, way. And apparently he's looking for a couple of mirrors which kind of have that supernatural element. I guess to some extent later that the mirrors, which are not really mirrors, they're just like talisman objects. I guess they have some kind of magic power, and
Well, they only show the front. How do you know it's not the back?
Well, because when you get the other one, you can twist it around and it's still marble.
How do you know he just didn't lose the mirror? It just looks like a big chunk of jade.
Yeah. And that's Landy. Landy is the primary enemy in the game, and for the most part, Ryo goes on a journey to avenge his father's death.
And yes, you will hear that name a million times.
Can I find Landy? Stuff like that. This is probably one of the most powerful. I mean, they don't mess around. You start the game, and it's like your dad just got his ass kicked, and he's supposed to be like I'm not exactly what school of martial arts he's in, but he got his ass handed to him,
Yeah, and one of the things is that this is kind of a game style that's popular in Japan, which is the kind of just storybook drama. It's more you're just playing through the events, not It's like minimal interaction almost. It's just you're kind of trying to live the actual character, but still kind of play it out like if you were reading a book almost.
No.
Yep. And it didn't sell well here at all. Not in the least. For those of us who played it, I played it and loved it. Playing it through for this capture made me really want to go to Japan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
this game makes me want to go to Japan more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit this is probably still maybe a little, I don't know, maybe more towards the countryside or something, but like when I was there are some spots in the game that look like when I was there, but other parts not so much. But like the room, right here, the room itself, I mean, that is very, it pretty much looks almost exactly like my friend's apartment. Yeah.
It's a style, is what it comes down to.
Yeah. One kind of thing you want to mention, because especially how I said that these aren't very popular here, is just kind of in comparison, you would kind of say that this is also like a precursor to like Heavy Rain, at least the style of gameplay.
Well, it's a precursor to a lot of the modern stuff. I mean,
no, but I just mean the whole kind of you're playing through, and then with the Quicktime Events.
I would go, well, we got to take one thing at a time. This is a long video. Basically, what it comes down to right now, what I'm showing you is, what you didn't see any of back in the day, is you can basically go through Ryo's entire house, and every door opens, all the cabinets open. You can turn the lights on and off. You even have a Sega Saturn, which this is 1987, a couple months after Timmy's birth. It's not. That's a little modern for.
And a Saturn.
Yeah, it's a Saturn.
A great one at that.
Should mention the reason why he has a Saturn is you can. There are a couple of games made by Sega AM2, which is what the part of Sega that developed the game, who made Super Hang-On, and a couple other games. Those you'll be able to play later. They're fully emulated, full games. So that was a nice little touch, but you have to earn them. And there's a little bit of a collecting element, which I'm showing here. Basically,
Capsule toys.
Yeah, that's it. And it's a couple.
I wanna go now.
There are a couple hundred different ones you can collect, and I got Tails, luckily.
Which actually, in part 2, you're actually able to pawn them.
I forgot about that. Yeah, there is a part 2 to Shenmue, which was released on the Dreamcast only in Japan, and then it was then released on the Xbox in the States because at that time the Dreamcast development cycle was completely done. But that's for another capture. Right now we're just going to focus on Shenmue 1. I'm also showing him drinking soda because I love the face he makes when he drinks it.
I want.
And that is very. The vending machine also is kind of very detailed to what it actually looks like. Although most of the ones I came across were just white and blue.
I just like the fact that they have a bunch of vending machines.
Well, actually, what I really like, especially about their vending machines, is that it shows you exactly what you're getting. It's not, just our little button that shows the bottle. It shows you the exact size of what you're getting.
Well, back in the day, you used to see a lot of those too, but...
No, but I mean, that's what... They still have that there.
That girl, by the way, has some significance to the story, although you don't meet her until the second game. A little more history, I guess I should mention. Basically, this game was a series of different books that was written by Yu Suzuki. I might be wrong about him writing it exactly, but I know it was produced by Yu Suzuki. And this game was supposed to take place over 6 to 8 games, 60 different 8 sequels. Right here, you're showing the locals are very friendly. Yeah, and it was supposed to span out for a very long time. Ryo was supposed to go through a bunch of trials and tribulations and learn a bunch of techniques, and then that supernatural element's supposed to come into play, and then it's supposed to all wrap up where I'm sure he defeats Lan Di.
Yeah, because you do find the second mirror, which is the Dragon's Mirror?
I don't remember. I think so.
I don't quite remember.
As you were mentioning, Quicktime Events is kind of what this game pioneered as far as gameplay elements. If it wasn't for this game, God of War, for example,
that playing stance.
Wide. God of War would not be what it is to some extent. Basically, Quicktime Event is you press the button that shows on screen. If you're too slow or you hit the wrong button, you fail.
In a sense, this little side game that he played was very good because the rest of the game has a lot of that, so it's good practice.
Yes, the arcade. This is where you earn those games for the Saturn, the emulated games like Space Harrier here. But you can come and pay for it to play it, though. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's nice it's there if you want to go in there and play it, and if for whatever reason you didn't own Space Harrier, it's the arcade version. So
well, it's also like if you don't own Space Harrier, this is kind of a good way to get at least like an emulated copy of it.
I'll try it.
Also,
probably a lot cheaper too.
QTE title's actually better as far as learning the buttons for Quicktime Events. I actually, I forget what happens when you high score this, like if you hit a certain number, but this is probably the best thing to train memorizing where the buttons are and, you know, having commands come up, because eventually you start getting, I mean, you gotta be quick.
I always want to know why he's fighting the guy from Rocky.
Rocket 4 specifically.
Yes.
Ivan Draco. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I just wanted to show some of this. I mean, it's this game, besides the fact that, you know, is really pushing, trying to push storytelling, push, you know, the plot. There was a level of immersion in Shenmue that no other game really had as far as the world is concerned. This is actually one of those first events where you see the QuickTime kind of really come into its own, and stuff like this happens all the time where, you know, Ryo just be coming into this, and, you know, if I hadn't caught the ball, it would hit him in the head.
Are you okay?
That would have also been kind of funny.
That would have been
when playing in the road.
You know, and pretty much everyone you see you can talk to, although whether they tell you anything useful or whether they really want to speak to you, that's an entirely different story.
Yeah.
This right here is Nozomi. This is Ryo's would-be girlfriend, at least in Japan.
Yeah.
Then again, he still plays the clueless part.
Yes. He's supposed to be 17, I believe. He's not even an adult.
Really?
And she's all nicey nice.
Did you see who was in the
She eventually gets kidnapped.
No, I didn't.
That's the typical Japanese girls.
Yes.
Always getting kidnapped.
And you gotta go save her.
And then she's in another castle.
You mean Tom at the hot dog truck?
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
Wait, when did he become Italian?
Why are you asking
Well,
about that car?
Don't have to be it.
No
It's the
reason.
jacket.
See you later.
Rio.
I like that.
I don't
Did
remember.
I mention I like that jacket?
No, not yet,
See
but
you.
now you have.
Yeah.
And it's now it's recorded for the annals of history.
Yes, and I want to mention that. Oh,
Tell me about those men in the black
I
car.
want to shut up for this part because
Yes,
Nozomi
please
told me
listen
you
to
had
this.
words with the guys driving the black car.
No, I don't remember.
They might
This
have
is
been the
Tom.
ones who murdered my
Mind
boss.
you, at the time,
Your
I would, like, when I really
trying
went
to
through this game and I really remember this, I was also playing Jet Grind Radio.
He's
So all I would hear
What were
is
they
the
like?
DJ
he is my favorite.
weird coat.
over stereotyped.
Well, that, and he's my favorite, like, world character that Rio talks to. Just, you know, his "Hi, Rio" kind of thing.
That's
Now,
indeed.
as I said, the entire game
What
is
happened?
completely voiced. This is one of those games that would be better played if you knew Japanese. I'm sure that all the dialogue and playing the game in Japanese would have been a better experience
Do you remember anything
on the
else?
whole. The voice actors they got for these parts, not all of them are terrible, but some of the translations are extremely rough.
Yeah, but then again, the way I kind of take it, especially for this time, this was actually, I would say, some of the best voice acting for the time.
Yeah, well, for
Because
the
a lot
time.
for the time, a lot of it was even more over exaggerated. And
This right here, I think, is a really bad, really rough translation. Or
Nothing really.
yeah, I want to believe that.
yeah, it was a localization issue.
But wait.
Oh no. Not all Chinese people are bad.
I understand that. But the only clue I have is that they were Chinese.
There's something about that. I just love that. You spend a lot of time asking. A lot of it's investigation, and then you'll run into certain areas where world events will happen, like right now. Timmy, what kind of leaf is that? Do you know?
That looks like a leak.
Is it?
no,
That's
it is not a leak.
It's a leak.
It is not a leak.
No, it's not. It's a.
It looks just like a plant leaf. I honestly couldn't tell you what it is, but I definitely know it's not a leak.
It's a tea leaf.
And
I would say leek is probably. I was thinking the same
because a
thing.
leek,
actually.
the stalk itself
Yeah,
is white.
It's white.
And
It's a lot
green
thicker.
at the top. Yes, it's
thicker.
like
I
celery.
know.
It's about as thick as celery, and it's bitter as hell.
Now, not everything is QuickTime events. There's actually parts.
Fights.
There's actual fighting.
I will say that is the worst flip, though.
No, he did it effortlessly.
It's like the guy actually jumped.
He did it effortlessly, and he was so good that the guy whose ass he kicked is like, oh man, he's pretty good.
Yep.
You know you have to be pretty good to do that.
You don't mess with me. Got it?
Yeah, as far as the fighting, we're not going to show any of that because you don't really start fighting until, I want to, not maybe, about a quarter through the game. And the fighting is not the primary focus. Being that this is made by Sega AM2, it's actually based on the Virtual Fighter engine.
I'm sorry.
And this was,
I don't talk to strangers.
same guys who made that
If you're
game.
trying to
Oh,
pick
love
me up,
this.
forget it. Find someone else.
I just
You
love that.
bitch, don't flatter yourself.
Excuse me.
I'm terribly
And this lady kind of
sorry.
looks like the
I'm not the
current
mother with
girlfriend's
this area around here.
mom a little bit.
I see.
It's just, I don't know. Dating the video, but just kind of reminds me a little bit.
Hi,
Yeah, and like I said, the
where
fights, they're,
sailors hang out?
you learn techniques, but this game doesn't focus on it very much, and it's a bit of an open world brawl. It's kind of stiff, it's kind of clunky. You get into those QuickTime events more than anything else, and the primary stuff you're going to be doing is talking to people, investigating. Where you go from one information source to another. So, in what you're seeing in this example, he was looking for Chinese people, and then Chinese people led to sailors, and then sailors led to this guy who is really, really angry. And then there's Mike with the bandana if he was in Japan.
And a lot lighter.
You got a death wish or something? You'll have to be nice if you want to play
And he's
with
got
me.
a tattoo of a Native American on his chest. I never noticed that, actually.
What is it, kid?
I need to ask you something.
I love these conversations that really lead to
Who the
nowhere.
hell do you think you're talking to? You
As I said,
puzzled me?
everything's acted, and most people will tell you
question for
most
you.
of the NPCs that are walking around, they'll just tell you real simple dialogue stuff like, "I can't be bothered right now. I'm too tired." In fact, you hear the line, "I'm too tired," like a lot.
I think I'm not quite sure. I think I remember reading that this is also kind of a precursor to Yakuza.
Well, it's the same developers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why that is actually, one of my favorite PS3 games. Actually,
I'll tell you what, Yakuza is
I know it's still not as good as this. I mean, I wouldn't even say that, but I mean, the style of play and everything that goes into the detail of the environment, it is really well done by this company, and I really wish we could see more games from.
If you want to know what Shenmue looked like if it was on modern console, play any of the recent Yakuza games.
3, 4, and actually 5. 5 is going to be coming out like a year or so.
Although Yakuza visually don't take the same gameplay elements. They're actually a lot different in a lot of respects. But yeah, you're right. It's definitely where the focus inspiration came from.
Maybe.
Um,
I'm looking for sailors who work with Chinese ships.
This is just one of those. You get in a lot of these situations where Ryo's looking for information. He's kind of naive, kind of just like, I'm here with a righteous cause, and then people
I'm 17, but I'm in a bar.
people are just like being dicks, like that guy and that guy. Especially this guy, because he gets hit twice. And then it leads to getting more information, or Ryo being stern.
Quite a show, boy. I'm
I don't know.
looking for info about
There's a lot to it. And it is an RPG, but it's more of an action storytelling, because you don't really make any decisions that affect the outcome. The outcome is pretty much preordained. There's some stuff that you can do that will affect the immediate, but not the overall.
Yeah, especially in this one, it didn't have too much that, like, if you failed on something, you'd either have to retry, or there were very few things that you could, kind of, it forks where you if you did one thing it goes one way, if you do another it goes the other way. Where in part 2 it had more, a little more option for a little bit of change.
He's got a tattoo.
So this game goes for about $20 average right now. It's a 2-disc game. It's on, it's depending. Well, if for your first playthrough, especially if you don't know where certain people are that you're looking for, the game will run 20 to 30 hours approximately. right here we're showing an example of Ryo learning a fighting move. Through different parts of the game, Ryo will meet people, mentors. In this instance, he's mentoring Fukasan. But in other parts, he'll learn moves from other NPCs in the game and teach him powerful techniques that you get to use in battle. And there's supposed to be segments where it's supposed to be like that, Ryo's guidance and, growing and stuff.
He's gone. I still have
That's
so many
the Karate Kid effect.
Yeah, definitely. Because, as far as I can tell, that's how they make their money. He's got a dojo and people learn, but he's only got one student.
Well, it's the eye of the tiger.
Sure, why not?
And whatnot.
Okay,
That student
I'll go
pays a
first.
lot.
He was. And he didn't even have his master anymore.
Plus, he cleans up everything.
As I take
So they take
one
advantage
step
of him like
forward,
they do the kids in
I
elementary
tense
school
my
over there
arm.
too.
then strike.
Child labor.
I don't know about that.
Fukusan.
I should actually mention when you
Punches, pulls, and muscles.
when you learn the moves, the Sega VMU, the memory card, actually gives you hints on what the button combination is, because it doesn't tell you exactly what you're supposed to be pressing. It gives you a hint, so he'll say move forward, and then right here I'm moving forward, and he's like, that was pretty good technique.
looks good.
You're the best martial artist ever.
The next part's
And
important.
then
Shift in
it'll
one
tell you, well, then you gotta
continuous
move, and then you gotta punch,
As you step
and then
forward,
it's
strike.
obviously forward punch.
But I'm not as good
And
as
then
Father
you'll see
was.
that on the VMU, and the VMU will beep when you've gotten it right, and to show you the little example. See, didn't do it right. It's like, God, what do? Nope,
I
not
didn't
kick.
need to kick.
It says the obvious. Moving aside isn't
I
good.
forgot to move.
Also, kind of like the detail that they actually took the shoes off.
And they say you gotta press it at the same time. There we go. Yeah, the fighting system's kind of
That was
stiff,
great.
especially when you get into later parts where you're
Your technique
surrounded.
is so much better than mine.
It's kind of hard to
Completely
navigate.
different
That's
from
probably
mine.
the game's really only major
father and
weakness
I
is the
trained
fighting,
for a
the
long
actual
time.
fighting stuff.
Even now in Yakuza,
Sensei
it is still
always
really
told me
stiff.
that this was the most
It's not
important
bad.
basic
It's
technique.
playable, but I mean, it's still pretty stiff. Where it
Would
could
you
use
like
a
to
bit more
practice some more?
polishing.
Well, everyone, this was a classic capture for Shenmue on the Dreamcast. There's way too much
No,
to say about
that's
this
enough.
game. There's so much history and so much
Really?
influence that this game has had on others, and it was definitely a catalyst to Sega's downfall as far as a console manufacturer. But in my opinion, it definitely wasn't.
Well,
It was
if you ever
management,
feel like sparring,
but it didn't
just
sell
ask.
well. A lot of
I'll be
people
here. Thanks,
didn't
Fukusan.
want to deal with it. Didn't want it because they mistook it for what it really was. And if you missed out on this classic, I fully recommend it. Next is a little intro movie sequence that explains part of the story for part 2. Please subscribe and let us know what you think. Thank you.
He shall appear from a far eastern land across the sea. A young man who has yet to know his potential. This potential is a power that could either destroy him or realize his will. His courage shall determine his fate. The path he must traverse, fraught with adversity, I await whilst praying. For this destiny predetermined since ancient times. A pitch-black night unfolds with the morning star as its only light. And thus the saga begins.